Well, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another edition of Seen Beyond and Through with Monty. Right before you is a mega hat wearing Trump supporter, and next to him is his son. Now, he gave a video talking about the love they have, what Trump supporters have, how they love each other, love country, love freedom, blah, 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 blah. His son seemed a little bit uncomfortable. He seemed a little bit scared. He just didn't seem right to me. Look at his face. But before I go on, I want you to watch the video.
So for all you people out there that think President Trump and his supporters are racist, this is my son. This is my son. I love you.
Love you.
So next time you want to talk crazy about Trump and his supporters, think about this. Who's our president, CJ?
Donald Trump.
Who do we like, Trump or Biden?
Trump.
That's right. So whether you like Trump or hate Trump, just know that this is a representation of Trump. People that love each other, people that love our country, people that want to see America great, people that like our freedoms. So next time you guys want to put nasty stuff on Trump supporters, just remember this. Father and son. Love you.
Love you.
All right. Have a good one.
Okay, so you've seen this Trump supporter talking about how I guess you can be a Trump supporter, how he believes he's not racist, how it's all about love of each other, love of country, love of freedom. Let's examine that. First of all, he's delusional. Trump supporters are very much against the Black Lives Matter movement. Trump supporters have a lot of extreme elements within their ranks. And, you know, the QAnon, what is that? The Proud Boys. They have a lot of white supremacist groups, separatist groups. Those are Trump's core base. It's like a cult. It's like a religion, to be honest with you. Where if you don't really believe the way in which they believe, you're not worthy to be an American. Now we've seen them storm the Capitol. How is that a love of freedom when you're going to storm a building and enter into a building, well, rather break into a building also, and with the help of, guards, police officers, but it was unlawful. You were not supposed to be there. And you stole things, you damaged things, you defecated in places, and you had a plan there to kidnap members of Congress, leaders, to do who knows what with them. That does not seem like it's love to me. If you had a love of country, then you would respect the will of the people who voted for Joe Biden. Why try to overturn or thwart the will of the people by falsely claiming without any proof that the election was rigged? If you had a love of freedom, once again, you would not want to overthrow a democratic process. You try to interfere by going to the Capitol, disrupting the electorals who are going to certify Joe Biden as the winner. That's freedom right there. You wanted to stop that process. And if you had your way, you wanted to overthrow that process. That is not love of country. That's you being delusional. Son right here. Look in his eyes right there. He made a claim that when he asked, who does we love? He said Trump. Of course he's going to say Trump. Does he have a choice? What if he would have said otherwise? And how is this not abuse? Why are you indoctrinating a child, how old is he, 9, 10 years old, into political affairs? This mega hat or being a Trump supporter should be reserved for adults. I mean, this boy should be playing with video games. He should be outdoors on bikes, skateboards, not being indoctrinated into his father's beliefs. His eyes seem, they're telling a story, to be honest with you. There's no joy there. There's no joy there because his childhood is being replaced with an ideology and a belief, as opposed to allowing him to hear both sides of the story, Democrat, Republican, Independent, or whatever, and allowing him to come to his own beliefs and opinions and ideas. This man is indoctrinating him into being a Trump supporter. My parents never indoctrinated me into being a Democrat, Republican, to vote, or to be political at all. I came to that conclusion on my own. And this is the reason why black women, when you get interracially, particularly with white men, they need to be vetted carefully, because most of them would claim that they are not racist, when in fact, most white people are racist. I say that because you're in a racist society. You have racist beliefs and systems. You know, who better yet to tell you than this right here? Hold on.
You say that all whites are racist. Can you expound on that, please?
Any white person who was born, raised, and schooled in the United States of America, if you aren't a racist, you're a miracle. Either that or you decided to educate yourself. Because education in this country is about white is right, brown's all right, black's got to stand back. Yellow's mellow, but whites, we educate in a way that says that white males have done all the adventures, have made all the adventures, have done all the discovering, have made all, everything that is good and has been accomplished according to social studies, which is actually anti-social studies, by white males. It's a lie. But we do that in order to maintain the myth of white superiority. The myth of race has to be maintained at all costs in this country. Because if white people have to give up the color of their skin as being something that makes them perfect, what do they have left? If we start teaching the truth about history, if we start teaching about Nile Valley contributions to civilization, it will totally change the way we conduct ourselves in the classroom. It will have to. Columbus didn't discover America. You can't discover a place where people are already living. But we celebrate that every October. It's a lie. We need to get over it. We need to stop telling the myths and start telling the truth.
So when you tell people that they're racist, and it must have some kind of effect, because most people will say, I'm not racist.
I'm not a racist. Why, some of my best friends are black.
Right.
Yeah, and then you say, name one. Or this one, I don't see color. And when some woman says to me, I don't see color, I say, I knew that. If you saw color, you wouldn't dye your hair that way. Or I say, if you saw color, you wouldn't wear that shirt with those pants. I believe that you don't see color. It's an attempt to deny skin color. And it's an attempt to deny what's wrong with seeing the color of my skin. Is it all right for you to see me kind of pink? That's okay for me. I don't mind. And I suspect that you don't mind being seen the color you are. You have a right to be what you are. And until people in this country and people in this world get it into their heads that the first modern human beings that evolved on this earth were black women. They evolved in sub-Saharan Africa about 280,000 years ago. And every human being on the face of the earth today has the memory of those black women's genetic structure in their genes. Now, we don't want to admit that, but that's the way it is. And as people moved farther and farther from the equator, their bodies produced less and less melanin, so their hair, their skin, and their eyes got lighter. As they moved into the east, they ate a lot of fish and a lot of vegetables, so their skin took on a different tone. I found that out when I was raising little kids. My husband worked in a supermarket. He was the head of the produce department, and they had lots of oranges that they couldn't sell. So he'd bring them home, and I was feeding my kids orange juice like you never saw in your life. They began to have an orange cast to their skin. I thought they had a liver problem. So I took him to the doctor, and she said, "What are you feeding these kids?" I said, "Well, lots of orange juice." She said, "Stop it if you want them to stop being orange." Now, if you think that skin color isn't anything other than the body's natural reaction to the natural environment, get over it.
So, if all white people are racist, according to you, can they be reprogrammed?
Of course they can. Of course they can. Of
How?
course they can be. It's called education. I'm an educator. The word educator comes from the root duc, which means lead, the prefix e, which means out, the suffix ate, which means the act of, and the suffix or, which means one who does. An educator is one who is engaged in the act of leading people out of ignorance.
Most white people have not done the inner work. They have not done the inner reflection, self-analyzation, to dig deep, to really bring it forward to get rid of. Most of them are like this man right here. He's in denial. In my opinion about racism, about white supremacy, how it affects one mentally, I mentioned it before. I believe it's a mental illness. I believe they need therapy to get over it. I do not believe he had therapy. This is going to take years upon years upon years to get rid of. And the quick answer is to, like so many do, is to get with a black person, marry a black person, have kids with them, or adopt their existing children, and declare themselves not to be racist. So the likelihood of hooking up with or marrying a white person or becoming partners with one who is not racist is going to be extremely low. And you wonder what type of women, black women who would hook up with a racist or someone like that. Men can do it as well. There's been plenty of times when men have hooked up with women who are racist and they get into an argument and first word comes out of their mouth, the N-word. And right now, with this situation here, this boy is cute. He's in a cute stage. Wait till he starts to get older. He may become more opinionated, become his own man, become more rebellious. You know the words that's going to come out of his mouth? It's not going to be all lovey-dovey then. It's very easy to make a claim that, oh yeah, I love this boy right now because he owes obeying you and he's following orders. But when he becomes a man, it's going to be a different story. And his true colors of his heart will come out. Make no mistake about that. It will show these women who choose these types of men the mistake in which they have made. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, that is another edition of Seeing Beyond and Through with Monty, and I will see you all beyond and through.